You've probably seen a car sitting in a driveway with its engine running and thought, why waste fuel? Just turn it off. It seems pointless. But if you've ever pulled into a highway rest stop late at night, you might notice something strange. A long line of semi-trucks is parked, not moving, yet every single one of them has its engine running. Some drivers are asleep, the trucks aren't going anywhere, so why are the engines still on? Welcome to Ordinary Things, Deep History, where we explore the hidden stories behind everyday things most people never think about. At first glance, idling trucks look like waste or laziness, but the real reason is much more complicated. It involves engineering limits, safety needs, medical equipment, and the way the trucking industry works. The first thing many people don't realize is that a long-haul semi-truck isn't just a vehicle. For the driver, it's also a temporary home. Most long-distance trucks have a sleeper cab behind the driver's seat with a bed and small living area. Drivers are legally required to take long rest breaks between driving shifts. When a truck pulls into a rest stop, the driver may spend the entire night inside the cab. For those hours, the truck becomes their bedroom. While parked, the truck still needs power. The engine runs the heater or air conditioner in the cab and provides electricity for lights, outlets, and devices the driver uses overnight. So even when the truck isn't moving, the engine is still doing important work. Many people assume the driver could simply turn the engine off and start it again in the morning. That works fine for most cars, but diesel engines behave very differently. Diesel engines don't use spark plugs. Instead, they ignite fuel by compressing air until it becomes extremely hot. This process works best when the engine is already warm. When a diesel engine sits in freezing temperatures all night and then starts from cold, several problems can happen. Fuel may not burn completely, internal parts experience extra stress, and the engine oil hasn't warmed enough to circulate properly. This means many parts are briefly running with less lubrication than they should have. Over time, repeated cold starts in extreme weather can increase engine wear. Some mechanics even say a freezing cold start can cause wear similar to hundreds of miles of normal driving. Temperature creates another problem. In very cold regions, winter nights can drop to around -20 degrees Fahrenheit or -29 degrees Celsius. At those temperatures, diesel fuel can begin to thicken and form wax crystals in the fuel system, often called fuel gelling. If that happens, the fuel may not flow properly and the truck might not start in the morning. Keeping the engine running helps keep the fuel system warm and prevents this issue. But there's another factor most people never think about: medical equipment. Many truck drivers use CPAP machines to treat sleep apnea. These machines help them breathe properly while sleeping, but they require electricity throughout the night. If the engine shuts off and there's no backup power source, the CPAP machine stops working. That can leave the driver exhausted the next day. For someone responsible for controlling an 80,000-pound truck on the highway, fatigue can become a serious safety risk. Sometimes the cargo also depends on constant power. Many trucks pull refrigerated trailers, often called reefers. These trailers transport temperature-sensitive goods like fruits, vegetables, dairy products, medicines, and vaccines. These products often need to stay within a narrow temperature range during the entire trip. Some shipments must remain close to 34 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 1 degree Celsius. If the cooling system stops running and the trailer warms up, the cargo can spoil within hours. You might think leaving engines running all night would be illegal. Many places do have anti-idling laws to reduce pollution. However, these rules usually include exceptions for situations like extreme temperatures, medical equipment, or temperature-sensitive cargo. In those cases, trucks are legally allowed to idle. The trucking industry has developed alternatives to reduce idling. One of the most common solutions is an auxiliary power unit, or APU. An APU is a small generator attached to the truck that can run heating, air conditioning, and electrical systems without using the main engine. This system uses much less fuel, but the problem is cost. Installing an APU can cost between $8,000 and $12,000. Many drivers are independent owner-operators working on tight budgets, so that upfront investment isn't always possible. Without an APU, keeping the main engine running overnight is often the only option. Idling still burns fuel. A semi-truck typically uses about 1 gallon of diesel per hour while idling. That means a truck parked overnight for 8 hours may burn around 8 gallons of fuel without moving at all. When thousands of trucks do this every night, the fuel use adds up quickly. That's why trucking companies now track idle time carefully as part of their operating costs. This habit also has historical roots. In the early days of long-distance trucking, drivers often slept in their seats or stayed in roadside motels. Sleeper cabs became common in the 1960s as highways expanded and routes became much longer. Back then, diesel engines were even harder to start in cold weather. In some cases, mechanics drained engine oil at night, kept it warm indoors, and poured it back before starting the truck in the morning. Compared with that complicated process, simply letting the engine idle overnight was a huge improvement. Over time, it became standard practice in the trucking world. Even if you've never driven a truck, this system affects your daily life. The food in your refrigerator, the medicine at pharmacies, and many products you buy online travel long distances by truck. Some of those shipments stay fresh because somewhere along the route, a truck kept running through the night to maintain power, protect the engine, or keep cargo cold. The good news is the industry is slowly changing. Battery-powered systems, shore power hookups at truck stops, and new truck technologies are helping reduce overnight idling. Electric semi-trucks are also beginning to appear, which could eventually eliminate the need for engines running all night. But change takes time. Until better solutions become affordable for every driver, the familiar rumble of trucks idling at night will continue. So the next time you hear that deep diesel hum in a quiet rest stop parking lot, remember, it isn't just noise. In many ways, it's the sound of the system that stocked your fridge today. And here at Ordinary Things, Deep History, that's exactly what we love exploring. The hidden systems behind the ordinary things that quietly keep the world running.